Hey everyone, good to be here. I'm CEO of Blockpass. I'm actually a lawyer and worked in the blockchain industry since 2013, mainly from the UK, then broadened out to other countries. The main problem that I saw was that there was a lot of innovation in blockchain, there's a lot of innovation in crypto, but there wasn't so much innovation in compliance. And the problem is that an industry that grows, such as the internet, it needs to have certain guardrails in order for it to expand as a market. And the way that I view it is lawyers are not guardrails. Regulators are not really guardrails. They'll tell you what is wrong and what is right, and you have to stick to those parameters. But it's not very helpful if you're trying to build technology. So we had a fintech revolution taking place since the banking crisis of 2009, and there was, a Cambrian event of many different startups trying to fix the problems with the financial system using technology. But in order to be able to do that, and in order to be able to do that effectively, you need regulatory technology to sit hand in hand. And so for me at that time in 2015, I said, rather than telling people what is right from wrong, I'd go out and build those guardrails, which are technological guardrails to support that industry. And so that's what Blockpass is, in effect. ICOs are a fantastic form of finance, and they were pretty much, since the dawn of the internet, the most successful mechanism for raising money. It's a much bigger industry than crowdfunding. Just to give you an idea, equity crowdfunding represents roughly about $400 million a year. Kickstarter, which is rewards-based crowdfunding, is about $2 to $3 billion a year. But ICOs, since 2017, and you can look up the figures, have averaged around $7 billion a year. So this is 3x rewards-based crowdfunding, and is exponential compared to the size of equity-based crowdfunding. In terms of proportion, out of $7 billion raised, 7 billion of those 3 years of ICO crowdfunding, 7 billion of that has been raised by 10 projects. So certain projects have managed to raise an extreme amount of capital. Now, what I find that's interesting is people are, in this crypto winter that everyone is experiencing. I was here last year in TOKEN2049. It was certainly more of a buzz. People are experiencing a bearish market, and in a bearish market, people are less willing to entertain the ICO as a form of fundraising. And in fact, anyone that goes down that route may be met with failure. And part of the problem is that bubble has burst generally within the crypto market. But part of the problem is that industry didn't pay heed to some of the regulatory controls that are needed in order for that financing mechanism to be sustainable. And so that's why last year the hype changed. The hype changed, it went from ICOs to STOs. The hype changed. And that transition was because of the need to add regulation into that field. And you may have seen in the United States, there were 2 unregistered security offerings that were subject to enforcement by the SEC, Aragon and AirFox. They were in fact ordered to refund the tokens that they sold back to their investors. So what we want to see this financing mechanism being used. We definitely want to see a $7 billion industry continuing to raise funds for startups. But we also want to see regulatory technology there to support that industry in a sustainable manner. And that is what Blockpass is intending to do. And to give you an idea, it's not just about the unregulatory nature of raising that capital. It's also about the unaccountability of those raising capital. It has been said that roughly 20% of the $7 billion raised per year in the 3 years of ICOs was hacked. So last year you may have seen there was roughly about $1 billion that was stolen from exchanges. But about 20% of all ICO money is money that has either been involved in an exit scam or has been hacked directly from the wallets of the issuers. So there's a problem about cybersecurity, and it was great to hear the lady before talking about Cloudflare. And that comes again to thinking about this in a serious manner. Let's make ICOs sustainable. Let's make this form of finance available in the long term, not just in the short term for a pump and dump. So we see the future of ICOs to a certain degree being in the form of a security token offering. Now, in the United States, they take a very wide definition of what a security is. In fact, if I sell you any type of contract where you deem it to have a return on investment, that may be a security nonetheless. And you may have heard this week, the SEC mentioned that Ethereum, the token, was no longer a security. They do not consider it to be a security. But that does not mean when Ethereum did the ICO 3 years ago, that at that time it was not a security. In fact, it's arguable at that time it was. So the security token offering from a United States concept is that period of time when you are doing your ICO, but the people who are backing you are effectively investing in you. And for that period of time, it will be considered a security. But over time, as you build your decentralized infrastructure, it will become less of a security to not becoming a security, as is the case this week with Ethereum. Now, there's also another angle to security tokens, which is really about digitizing investment assets, digitizing equity, digitizing debt instruments, digitizing paper-based investment contracts. And that is obviously a major trend that we're seeing now, for example, with Securitize, T0, some of the exchanges that have been built up. But the good thing about a security token is that it comes with guardrails. It needs to be regulated. And Regtech is the key to unlock that. And Blockpass has designed an identity system to support that. So if you want to run an ICO as a security token or digitizing shares, for example, a system like Blockpass will allow you to onboard your users knowing full well that they have been verified, that they are accredited, that the investment that they're about to make is appropriate and suitable to their investor profile, that they are not on a sanctions list. But at the same time, you can offer a seamless experience for your investors. They download the app, get verified in a few minutes, scan a QR code, and then invest in your token sale. And that's where technology comes in to address that barrier of entry. When the ICOs, I don't know how long you guys have been in the industry, but if any of you remember the first ICOs, they were just simply smart contract addresses where you would just throw in money. Like a slot machine, a global online slot machine that no one knows where the money is coming from, but it's going in. But the reason it was so successful is because it was so accessible. So we want to make that possible in the same way at that scale, but with regulatory technology. So we've actually built a system, an on-chain verification system, so that you can run an open smart contract and receive monies from all over the world, but they are from verified users, effectively a global whitelist of verified users. And that is the role of our token, the Pass token. It's to essentially distribute verified identities on different blockchains. We're currently working on the Ethereum chain, but we are also collaborating with other chains. So this is just to give you an idea of the types of points of data that we receive. We do not retain any data on the user. So our vision is a decentralized vision. We are not trying to create a honeypot of data storing personal details of everyone. The only details that we have on our server are different seals, and those seals are effectively hash records. They are not personal data. We do not store personal data at all. We do not monetize personal data by any means. The user is in control of their identity. The user gets verified. It is a self-sovereign identity system. For the merchant, the person that wants to onboard the investors, it's so simple. Just a simple API, they connect to it, and they can collect verified profiles in seconds. And our token, the role of our token, as I mentioned, is to create this global, public whitelist of verified addresses, meaning you can program a smart contract that can receive investment from all over the world, but only from verified users, pre-vetted users. We have a number of partners. Our first partner was Bitfinex. You may know the brand Ethernex. You could, in fact, go to their website and see the integration there. And we have a series of other partners. We have also a research center in Scotland, the Blockpass Identity Lab, that is researching zero-knowledge proof. So it's the ability to prove something about yourself without revealing your personal data, which is what we believe the future of identity verification will be. That you will not always need to disclose all of your personal data, dump your data on service providers, but we can be more nuanced about protecting the privacy of the user, but also achieving financial services compliance. This is the app. You can download it from the App Store. You can get verified today. You could have got verified last summer. It's been available for quite a long time. So please do download it. So this is just to give you a quick overview of the process. You download the app, you'll enter in your credentials. You then have access to the verification requirements there, which is just a button for you to click. You send your data out and you register with that verifier. The verifier then processes that verification, and once it processed the verification, generates a certificate for you. That certificate is on your device only. It is not stored anywhere else, only on your phone. At that point, the data is deleted from the Verify server and from our server, and you are the only person containing that signed certificate. And so this certificate will show you, for example, passport authenticity, different aspects of the document that have been checked, such as data consistency, checking against government templates of documents, etc. And this is an example. This is, for example, the Ethernex integration that we did. The user, once verified inside the app, inside their phone, simply scans the QR code, clicks a button, and they're done. On the merchant side, so this is on the side of Ethernex or any of the other merchants, they receive the data. They can design an automated rule, which is if that person has 3 certificates and they are verified and it matches the input data, then they can be auto-onboarded. Where the data does not match and there may be a discrepancy, they go into what we call the quarantine system. And this is a quarantine example where you can review or re-review the data here on the dashboard. And any of the data that you have a problem with, you can send back to the user directly on their phone, that particular credential that you have a problem with. For example, you say, I'm sorry, your proof of address does not match the input address that you have provided. User receives a notification, they remedy that problem, and resubmit directly from their phone. No emails whatsoever, no dispersing of data across different servers. And so what's the magic of Blockpass? The magic is essentially that we can verify people, but it can be decentralized. It means that the user can have their data, can have their certificates, can share their data, but the merchant can prove that the user did not manipulate any of that data. And the reason they can do that is because they can verify with us the state of the data once they receive it, and that's using the verification on the hashes. And the last thing is, we believe that identity is something that accumulates, that you build in increments. So we give the ability to the merchants themselves to help enhance the identity of the user. So a merchant that has onboarded a user has the ability to generate a certificate for the user himself. So for example, I onboard a user, I am a bank, I am happy with them, I generate a certificate to say, this is a customer of mine. And then that certificate can be shared with other parties to enhance the reputation of that user. So if you want to look at some of our practical integrations, if you're interested in building your own integration on the Blockpass API, you can have a look at Ethernex. You can also look at a deep integration into a wallet, which is with Infinito Wallet, where we've integrated the Blockpass application into a wallet. And more web-based application, you can look at the Holdex platform, which is one of our good partners who's here today. So Holdex, the application that they have built on Blockpass, is essentially an STO platform. So you can use Blockpass as the verification mechanism for that STO platform and roll out your own STO with your own branding using the Holdex web app. Infinito, this is the deep integration into the wallet. So this is where we're whitelisting addresses as they are being transferred. So here you can see a wallet. A normal wallet has send and receive, but it also has verification. So a red line to say you're not verified, you have to get verified, and it integrates via the SDK to the Blockpass application. And that's our world first decentralized KYC use case, which was with Ethernex. We ran 3 token sales with them last year. That's one of the examples, the Dusk ICO. So for all of you who are here today, we have an event tomorrow if you're still sticking around in town. It's over at Cyberport. If you'd like to attend, please come along. We've got some great speakers, Simon Dixon from Banks of Future, who by the way is there, and some other great luminaries, Anthony Lewis over there from R3, and I hope you'll enjoy that, and I hope it's been a very productive week for you. But in summary, Blockpass is the missing regulatory technology to make the ICO industry, which is a $7 billion financing industry, sustainable. And this is the solution, a regulatory technology, not regulation, but technology. Thank you for your time.